I'm not a designer. I'm not a lawyer or whatever. I'm not an economist. I just have 40 years of experience working with designers, especially in this country. And as you probably know, and we are in a European project, Austria is not that long in the European Union. So we started, or I was lucky, to be honest, to be from the start when Austria joined the European Union in the front row, get to know all these international European designers, schools, problems, and so on and so forth. And Tamara probably told you that Design Austria has about 1,400 members. We are not a legal organization, but we are open to everybody, so we have to be really good in our service. Otherwise people leave us because they can just go and come, like BNO, you know the Dutch organization, which is really good, by the way.
I know.
You know, okay. BNO is the Dutch professional organization for designers. Everything what I just want to mention today, which is really short, it's about 20 slides, I will be finished in this hour, is knowledge from colleagues. It's not my knowledge, it's not the knowledge of lawyers or economists or whatever, it's from other designers, out of experience, yes, out of their daily talks, discussions with their clients. So you probably all know these questions, why is it so expensive, and what is a copyright? Do I have to pay copyrights? Why do I have to pay copyrights? I own this thing because I paid you, and things like that. So what do designers usually answer? That's by the way me, but you can all call me Severin, that's no problem. Very, very basically, just to think about, you have a whole weekend or a couple of days here in Austria, now, and that's the reason why I ask you, please don't be bored if I if I tell you very stupid questions. A very stupid question is what is design, and if you give a very basic answer to that, you will probably just say what you love most, nature. Everything that grows is not designed, because everything else is touched by human beings, is touched by you, by designers or by other producers or whatever, and that's somehow formed, or in communication design as well, even messages are designed. If I narrow this down a little bit and say what is good design, you probably all say, I'm a good designer. I come up with a completely different thing, and it opens up 3 argumentation fields for you, because good design is the combination. You can have these slides, it's no problem, or Tamara can send you the slides. Real good design is a combination of 3 things, and it opens up 3 fields of discussion with your clients, because it's a combination of function, emotional and social utilities. What do I mean with that? Function is more for our industrial and product design colleagues and friends, because it has to work. The car has to work, mobile phone has to work, remote control has to work, everything has to work. The easier the better for us. If it's complicated and you get bored somehow and it's not that good, but good design is really good function. And these social and emotional utilities are often forgotten, but are very, very important. It was somehow my starting question with your colleague when I asked her if she has a Samsung phone or an iPhone, because that's actually what I mean with social and emotional. We are emotionally touched by iPhones. We know that their Samsung phone is much better, technically, but the feeling I have if I have an iPhone and all my other colleagues have iPhones, and the design of the products, that's this kind of emotional touch we have. And the social aspect, the social functionality is, I don't know who has a car from you, but it's quite easy. If if I buy a Volvo car, who was in Sweden? Somebody was in Sweden, you were in Sweden. Who is buying a Volvo? People who want to be safe on the road. So the characteristic connected to this utility is to be safe on the road. Then I buy a Volvo, not a very fast Ferrari or something else. So 3 argumentation lines for you as a designer. What is good design, or when is design best? If these 3 things are connected and combined. Next question would be, you come from all different countries in the European Union. There are many good designers. Of course, you're all good designers, and I tell you, there are so many. In this country, we have per year 1,400 to 1,500 graduates per year in this country. I don't know Germany, but I know South Korea. Who was South Korea? Yes, 30,000 a year, per year. I don't mention China. And I don't know Spain. I know New Spain. At least, I mean, you know what I mean. The competition is really, really great. Of course, not everybody who studies design ends up in design, but the argument to if I am a good designer or not is not the amount of people around, but it is the question of money, price. Is design expensive? Am I expensive in my services? I would say no. Because what is expensive? The material is expensive, the company is expensive, and sometimes the company affords an expensive name, an expensive designer, but at the end, design itself is not expensive. But be aware, because there's always somebody around who makes it cheaper. And you probably have experienced that people are around, even your colleagues, a lot of your colleagues on the same market, offering the same service, the complete same service for less money. So they are cheaper than you, so the argument can't be, I have to be too cheap to make my income, or, as you said, on the side. What I want to give or present to you today, it's really just a couple of ideas to hopefully stay in your mind. And as I mentioned, you can have these slides, it's no problem, from Austrian colleagues who questions these questions to themselves as well. And the first one is a really very, very simple thing. I'm not, as I said, I'm not a designer, I'm not an economist, I'm not a lawyer or whatever, but that's knowledge from the street, I would say, knowledge from other design colleagues you have here. So what is the easiest thing for designers to calculate their, just a second, help, here we are, to calculate their working hour. If you keep this image in mind, you know how I calculate your personal individual working hour, because it consists of 4 different parts. This part is your personal income, and it depends because you start low and you want to get more and more by year. It pays the social security. We are all in Europe, or most of us are from Europe, so we have to pay social security. We have to pay different amount of taxes, and we have to cover our costs. And it's the costs of your private life and the costs of your professional life. If you have a studio, I mean, you can work at home as well or whatever. So all your costs have to be somehow covered. So actually my hourly rate, or yours, or all of us, consists of 4 different parts. It consists of what I personally want to earn. We're not doing some kind of mathematics here or whatever. It is just the idea at the moment I need so and so much money. Okay, you're a freelancer or don't care where you get this money from, but you need it in order to make your living. And this will be, we say variable, it will raise. Because in a couple of years you say, I want to get out of this flat with 5 different other colleagues or whatever, I want to have my own and so on and so forth. I want to earn more, I want to have a better life, whatever you want. Your income will raise what you want to earn. Also, of course, the costs will rise. As you know, we have a high inflation rate at the moment, especially in Austria. We have the highest one in Europe, I think, at the moment. But the inflation rate goes up. So these two figures are changing every year. What stays the same, at least for a couple of years, it's a certain percentage your governments, or our governments, tell us how much do I have to pay for social security and how much do I have to pay for taxes. This amount varies. In Austria, I can tell you, you pay approximately 1,000 euro. No, for the first 1,000 euros per month, you pay no taxes. So about 12,000, a little bit more, 12 to 13,000 euros are tax-free in this country. So you know that, and then you know it. Then it's 20%, and it's 30% or whatever. So you know exactly the percentage in order to calculate your personal hour. And if you know these figures, then you can make up your individual working hour. Because we said it consists of 4 parts: an amount of personal income, hourly rate, to cover my social security costs, to cover my taxes, and to cover my personal life and professional costs of my studio, which will of course be higher if I have employees, or if I have a big studio. It will be very small if I work at home, because then I just have one rent to pay. And just an example, here we calculated for an average income wish of a designer in Austria would be between 70 and 120 euros. So we say the lowest part here is about 70 euros per hour, plus covering the social security, which is about 25 euros, plus an amount for your taxes, and to cover up costs and expenses you have during your work. So an hourly rate here would be approximately 110 euros. The next question is, how many hours do you work? Of course. Do you know these figures? How many hours you work? I can tell you it, or I can tell you now if you want to. How many hours do I work? In average, an employed person works 200 days per year in this country, which means actually only every second day, because the year has 365 days. 200 days are working days, minus weekends, minus holidays, minus public holidays. We have 15, 16 holidays per year in Austria. I think China has only 9, or? Do you know how many public holidays do you have in China?
Like 14 days.
14, okay. Yeah. So it's the moon holidays and the New Year's holidays.
It's Autumn Festival, national holiday. We have some small holidays.
Okay.
They're paying respect for dead relatives.
Okay. Yeah. You know how many holidays we have in Austria? 25?
That's pretty good. That's
something
we can all work on.
Yeah. Yes, it's one of the highest rates in Europe we have. I don't know how much in Holland. Do you know Holland?
No, well, I know in France we have way too many.
Too many? Yeah. How many do you have in France?
I don't know, but it's like May, we work like almost only 2 weeks.
In May?
Yeah, like Labor Day and Mother's Day.
Okay, yeah, 1st of May. I think every country has the 1st of May.
Yeah, but in Holland they work on the 1st of May, for example.
Yeah.
They celebrate work by working.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Something for the weekend. If you want to think about these very basic questions. How can I earn more money? Or our Irish, what is your first name?
Robin.
Robin. She's asking herself this question, or everybody's asking himself or herself this question, how can I earn more? And I can tell you there are only three answers. There are two positive ones and one which is, of course, I can save money, less costs, less expenses, is one possibility to have to keep more money by myself. That's the minus over there, and the two pluses are only two possibilities. Either my hourly rate will rise, so I don't ask for 110 euros, but for 120, or I have more jobs, which at the end means more people to work for me. So in the same amount of time, in one day, I can have, of course, have more people, and then I can make more money because I have more jobs at the same time. And you can think now the whole weekend, if you find something else which answers you this question, how can I earn more money? There are no other answers to that, believe me.
Tax evasion.
Yeah, yeah, or we go to some small island. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Okay, the more important thing, because often, or very often, clients or your clients ask, do I have to pay copyrights, or why is this a part of your income or your hourly rate? It depends on how you charge that. How do we calculate copyrights? I can give you the answer now only for the central of Europe, because it's the same in Germany, in Switzerland and Austria. I think it's the same in France as well, because there's a system behind it, which I want to shortly explain to you. The system is that a designer's fee, if you are successful, which we all want to be, and your product is produced or your graphic design is printed and at the end used by the client, your honorarium exists of two things, and this is a legal thing actually. No matter if you want or not, it's always like this, that your fee consists of two parts. It consists of the hours, the amount of work you put into a project, and a part for usage. If the usage is only very limited to one country, to 1 year, to 1 week, or is it forever? There is no logo in this world which is used forever. It's also a good weekend question. Is there a logo which is used forever? No. Coca-Cola changed 10 times in its history, its logo. Shell, or think of the big brand names. They never have the same, or none of them has the same logo for all the years on the market. So in short, we say, or the designers say, our salaries, our honorarium is H plus C, hours plus copyrights. So this is kind of the Merksatz. Was heißt Merksatz auf Englisch? Whatever. Was heißt Merksatz auf English? No idea. So that's what all the designers use. Okay, and in one slide, actually, what makes up a salary or a honorarium for a designer? We know this H plus C, so and so many hours for a certain hourly rate plus a copyright factor. The copyright factors are, in this country, between 0.5 and 2. In Germany, between 0.3 and 3. And to be honest, I don't know how they are in your countries. The bigger the market, the more they change. But I can easily explain what this means. These two figures are the only figures in legal texts. So the government doesn't say you have to charge this amount of money or whatever, or this costs so and so much. We are in an open market, a liberal market. The government says your copyright can be, it's up to you, in this kind of range between 0.5 and 2. And in Austria, or let's say Central Europe, it's quite easy because if I take any figure, 100 euros, and multiply with 0.5, it means it's only half of the amount. And if I take this figure and multiply by 2, it's double the amount. So it's very easy in Austria because all the designers say, oh, my copyright is between half and the doubled amount. That's it. And all clients know, okay, my amount of work is this amount of money, and if I use the work, the copyright will be between another 50% to 200%. Depending on, and you have 3 figures here, depending on limited usage, that means, for instance, for 1 year, for 1 campaign, for 1 edition of a book, for instance, if it's eine Auflage, or is it unlimited? Or does the client also want open files? Question you also, can I have the data? Of course he can have the data, or she can have the data, but they have to pay for it. It will be charged. In Austria again, or Central Europe, it's not only Austria. In Austria, calculation of copyrights relates on 4 very important factors, which are, and it's very easy, the place where my work is used. Is it used in Austria alone? Is it used in Vienna alone? Is it used in the whole of Europe? Is it used in the whole world? The time, how long do I use my work? Is it just for 1 week, just for 1 month, just for a season? If I print a textile, for instance, or fashion, it's very season related. The purpose, what is it? Is it an information design campaign? Is it a book? Is it campaign for whatever? And the type of how do we work together? Is it just a one-off job, or is it a relationship which lasts couple of weeks, couple of months? So all these 4 important figures should be mentioned in a good briefing. And in Central Europe, all factors, all copyright factors are in between 0.5 and 2. 1 exception, Ausnahme heißt das, glaube ich. One exception. The 3, open data. Open data are assets for you. Don't give away open data that the client can use for another edition, for whatever, to change something. The general factors, there are 2 more, which are less than 1, so they are actually a good reason to make something cheaper. Just think of the image you had before. There's always somebody who makes it cheaper. When is something made cheaper? If the topic is not very important, if I make a magazine, an example from graphic design or communication design, if I make a magazine for the employees of a medium-sized company, let's say there are 200 people working or 150 people working in a company, small, medium-sized company, and there is 2 times a year a kind of magazine of the board to its employees with their news on the company. It's very limited, so it's not very important. If I make a big logo for a big company like Samsung, the topic is big because the meaning, the second factor here, Samsung is a great company, it's all over the world, so it's important. Same for you. I'm still a student or fresh on the market. I'm just 1 year after my PhD or whatever. Your name is not very known under the designers. If my name is Stefan Sackmeister or some other famous designer or company or whatever, or in fashion is even more. If the importance of my name is on the market, I will stay with my limit, with my income on level 1, so the amount I can't get less money because I'm known very well. That's actually on one slide all the factors you have in Central Europe. You see everything is between 50% and times 2, except one exemption, which is the open data, the 3 over there. So what do designers tell you if you ask a colleague? How can I calculate copyrights? Also, just on one slide, some information of your colleagues. They say the first thing you have to do is to check the so-called W questions. Where is my work used? When is it used? What do you use it for? What do you need it for? And how do we work together? In a good briefing, all of those are included. If the answer would be this, in one country for 1 year, there's one purpose of my work, and we have one contract, so one-off working relationship, all these factors are one. And it's so easy for you then, even if you're not a mathematician, because if my working amount is 500 euros, and then H plus C, how much is the copyright factor worth? 500 times 1 is 500, times 1 is 500, times 1 is 500, times 1 is 500. So my salary or my honorarium would be 500 plus 500, 1,000 euros. Double the amount. So you just have to mention my work and usage and copyrights for France for the duration of 1 year, just as a whatever poster campaign, and that's the one-off job relationship we have. If the client says, oh, it was great to work with you, why don't we do the same thing next year again? Do it again, and then you can give him a kind of reduction on the price. When do you get a reduction on the price? If you go to a shop more often than once, or if you go there 2 times, 3 times, if the owner knows you, and then you can say, oh shit, I forgot my purse, I forgot my money. Can I take something and pay you tomorrow? And they will say yes. If you are there for the first time, he will never do that. True? So that's it. So enjoy your stay. That's an example. Enjoy your stay in Vienna. Make a good job. And keep this slide, or put this slide in your studio, because we started off with more than a function. We started off with function, emotion, and social utilities. So good design, we said, is a combination of the function, it works, of an emotion, it touches me, and some social connection from it. And now, if you just have a look at the other side, at your client side, he will say, I have an economic cost, so it costs me so and so much to produce that, a book or a textile or whatever, but I still want to make a profit, and the designer also wants some profit, so there must be a surplus to that. And that's what we call, on the right-hand side, you have it, the creation of economic value. And you are all there, all the designers are actually on the market there to create more economic value to a product, because on the other side, and you all know that, we can produce cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, but actually our working force is not paid anymore. So we have to get this economic value again. And that's in our brains and not in the machines in our hands in producing things. All together, we want to be good designers. You want to be a good designer. We want to produce good value for our customers because they are our clients. They are actually our income. You want to have a good fee, more money, a little more money, at least at the beginning. And your client wants to have more profit, good profit, in order to give you the job. So enjoy the day. It will get sunny. Thank you.